All right. Yeah. Welcome to the show. It is Wrestling Uncensored. I'm Dave Simon. He's Johnny North. RingsideReport.net is the website. Go there for everything Wrestling Uncensored, everything Dave and Johnny live, everything Smackin It, the brand new show right after Smackdown. If you missed our Hell in a Cell post-show, you can check that out over at www.ringsidereport.net. You can go to our YouTube channel because that's where we do all the business, all the shows over on YouTube, including this show, Wrestling Uncensored. You can watch on YouTube if you're listening to this on the radio or on your podcast, on your Apple Tunes or whatever you're doing. You could watch this show over at youtube.com/ringsidereport.net. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a comment, and all that good stuff. More info on our website, ringsidereport.net. You can watch the MMA show that we do live every Thursday nights at 8 p.m. on the YouTube channel. It was an electric show this week. We talked about Cain Velasquez in the WWE. We talked about Alberto Del Rio having an MMA fight with Tito Ortiz. And we also talked about Israel Adesanya and his next fight and what he just did becoming the UFC middleweight champion. So all that available on Ringside Report that you can check out. But right now, today on the show, we have other things to get to. We have to get to Monday Night Raw. We have to get to AEW Dynamite that went down this past Wednesday, the second episode of AEW, and also NXT. NXT that went down, a tremendous match between Walter and Kushida. And that was a lot of fun, and we will get to all of that. If you want to hear our thoughts on SmackDown and the first night of the WWE Draft, you can check out the SmackDown-only show, Smackin It, with Dave. That's available on our YouTube channel. And if you want to hear our recap from Hell in a Cell that went down this past Sunday, Johnny, myself, and my brother were all live on the channel recapping Hell in a Cell this past Sunday, and wow, what a debacle that show was. So embarrassing that the WWE barely mentioned it on Raw this week. The Fiend and Seth Rollins both absent from Monday Night Raw, I think out of embarrassment for how terrible the match was at Hell in a Cell and how rough the reaction was from the audience. Both the audience in the arena and the worldwide audience condemning the WWE and their terrible pay-per-view that was Hell in a Cell. I think I gave it a 3 out of 10, maybe the lowest rated pay-per-view of the year for all of the WWE. This thing was awful. They had one good match between Becky and Sasha in the Cell to open the show up, and the rest was pretty trash. And the main event was one of the worst main events you will ever see. The red lights, the non-finish, the lack of anything really happening, the bad acting from Seth Rollins, just bad overall. At least they put a mask on Bray Wyatt to hide his bad acting. At least they have that going for them, but wow, was that bad. Yowie, wowie, that was terrible. And we didn't even see The Fiend on Raw. There were rumors that he was hurt, but I think he showed up, did a post-show, like a dark match segment where he attacked somebody. Whatever. I don't think we're done with The Fiend and Seth Rollins, unfortunately. There are rumors that the match is going to happen again at Survivor Series in November. Ooh, it was rough. It was rough.
Did you see that canceled WWE Network was trending again right after the event?
Was it?
It's kind of crazy that just for this. I mean, I understand when Daniel Bryan wasn't in the Rumble and people were upset for that. Like, they're upset they're not getting their favorite superstar. But just because a match was bad and they didn't understand that there was a no contest, not a DQ, that people just, like, flipped out and went crazy. Like, I understand, again, live, people were booing it out of the building. They had every right to because they deserved a refund in a sense. But, I mean, if you just watch on TV, I mean, yeah, just it was a bad thing to watch. Don't watch it.
Yeah.
I don't understand the anger. Like, cancel the network. The network's still really great. Like, yes, some matches aren't great, but for one match, you're going to cancel all the greatness that you see every week? I think that's kind of ridiculous.
Sure, I think, the network, the $12 a month is worth it just for NXT.
That's pretty good.
Even though we don't get it live here in Canada. But I guess in the States, NXT's on the USA Network, so what's on the network? The pay-per-views. And if the pay-per-views are bad like that, maybe it's not worth the money if you're an American fan, right?
Well, you want to see Crown Jewel, don't you? You want to see Brock Lesnar versus Cain Velasquez. You want to see Tyson Fury fight, right? I mean, you got to see the network. That's the way you're going to see it.
How excited are you about this Tyson Fury Braun Strowman thing? Because I'll tell you, I thought the segment to finish Raw was a little bit flat. We see Tyson Fury show up on SmackDown last week. Braun Strowman kind of mocks like he's going to give Tyson Fury these hands, but he's smiling. It seems friendly. But then he's in a tag team match, and Braun throws Dolph Ziggler into the barricade. Tyson Fury gets offended, and he jumps the barricade, and they're separated. Then on Raw, Tyson Fury shows up. He's in the ring with Jerry Lawler, and what does he want? What does he want? An apology! Come on. Why does everybody in the WWE want an apology so bad? Why is that always the thing that they use? How many times in the WWE, I wish somebody would do a montage of all the times where people have come in the ring in the WWE and demanded apologies. It's always happening. I feel like it happens once a month. Somebody comes in and demands an apology, and this time it was Tyson Fury, and it was just bad. I was like, really? This is what you want, Tyson Fury? You're one of the baddest dudes on the planet. Braun Strowman threw another man into you. You wanted to fight him on SmackDown, but now on Raw, 4 days later, you just want him to say sorry. That's what you request from Braun Strowman, an apology. You don't want to knock Braun Strowman out. You don't want to punch him in the face. You don't want any problems with Braun Strowman. You want him to say sorry because your feelings were hurt. What is that? What is that? It doesn't make any sense. And if Tyson Fury had any wrestling sense, he would say, whoa. How about I just say I want to beat up Braun Strowman? It's better that way rather than me saying I want an apology. Like, what am I, a baby? What do I need an apology for? A guy threw another guy into me. That means that's fighting words. That's fighting actions. I want to fight him. Like, what's so hard to understand about that?
I guess nowadays, to be civilized, we're not going to throw down as long as you say I'm sorry, then everything's fine. But if you don't say I'm sorry, then we're throwing down. I guess that's the way it goes now.
I can't believe you wouldn't apologize to me, sir. I demand a duel. It's like, what is this?
That's pretty much it, yeah.
What is this? He's the heavyweight boxing champion of the world. He's wrestling a guy that they call the monster among men, and they're asking for gentlemanly apologies. So dumb. And they're going to wrestle with Crown Jewel. I'm not that excited about it. I don't really care. Tyson Fury, he's in the ring. Braun Strowman's like, Fury, if those security guards didn't get in the way, I would literally eat you for lunch. And it's like, what? You would literally eat him for lunch? Like you would cannibalize Tyson Fury? Like, first of all, he's 6'9". That's a very big meal, Braun Strowman. I get that you're big, but really? Second of all, you're eating human beings now, Braun Strowman? Like, what are you talking about? He said literally eat you for lunch. I don't think he meant to say literally. That's the thing that a lot of people do, not just in wrestling, but like in the world. They say literally, but they don't really mean it. It's like, John, I will literally pick you up and toss you out this window. It's like, no, you won't. I would not do that. It's ridiculous.
I will pick me up, though.
I will literally pick you up and then put you back down. Like, okay, yeah, that's literally what I will do in the literal sense. But Braun did not mean that he will literally eat you for lunch, Tyson Fury. That was just a bad line. Took me out of it right away. Well, I was already out of it when Fury demanded the apology, and then Braun Strowman shows up and he's like, I'm going to eat you alive. And it's like, what? Or maybe he would have cooked him. I don't know. So Braun Dahmer attacking Tyson Fury. They get in each other's faces. Fury's like, if security hadn't stopped me, I would have knocked you out. Nice. So Fury pushes Braun. Oh, well, Fury says, hey, I'm the heavyweight champion of the world. How many heavyweight titles have you won? Which is a good line that they fed him because Braun has won nothing. Doesn't make Braun look very good, though. It kind of reminds you, oh, yeah, Braun's really done nothing in the WWE. He just loses every title shot he ever has. Doesn't make you believe he'll beat the heavyweight boxing champion of the world, who's like bigger than him. One of the few guys you ever see that's bigger than him. So he's not only bigger than the biggest guy in WWE, he's also reminding everybody that, like, this guy also is terrible. You know, Braun Strowman never wins championships, and by the way, he's also smaller than me. And I'd beat him in a real fight because, like, you know, Braun's just a strong man. Fury pushes Braun. Braun kind of picks him up and eases him into the corner. It was very gentle. It didn't seem like there was a lot of heat there. And
Safe.
It was very safe, right?
Yep.
And then security breaks them up, and then they attack the security way harder than it looks like they're trying to attack each other, right?
Right.
And then a bunch of wrestlers show up, and they break through the wrestlers a few times. When they do get together, it's just a lot of clinching and not really doing much of anything. It was a pull-apart brawl. Eventually, Braun Strowman decides he's going backstage. He does a little bit of promo. He says, "Oh, Tyson, you're a tough son of a, but you're going to get these hands." And then he's like, "Bruh, you'll never get an apology, Tyson Fury." And then he decides to go back into the ring and brawl again, but again he's stopped by all the wrestlers. Nothing really happens. It was a lot of nothing.
Well, we saw a lot of bad punches by Tyson Fury, which really made Fury look like garbage.
Well, what's he supposed to do? Hit you for real? He'd knock everybody out. The guy's a heavyweight champion of the world. He knows how to punch for real. I don't think he knows how to punch not for real because he's not a pro wrestler.
I think instead of throwing these crappy phantom punches, he should have just like tossed people instead. Just grab them by the throat, grab them by the head, and just toss them. Instead of throwing these punches that clearly didn't connect whatsoever. Even with their good camera angles, they still couldn't cover it up. It just looked bad.
It was not good. And I'm not that excited about seeing Tyson Fury, Braun Strowman in a one-on-one match. I don't know what they're going to do exactly in Saudi Arabia. They have a big press conference that's going to happen a little bit after the recording of this show, so I guess we'll find out. We'll talk about it more on Smackin It. If you're listening to this, you could watch Smackin It for the thoughts on the press conference. But, you know, the Braun Strowman-Tyson Fury thing is going to culminate in a match, and I don't know. Braun isn't a tremendous wrestler, and Tyson Fury I don't think is a wrestler at all. I don't know. And is it bringing in the eyeballs that the WWE wants it to, you know? They've tried it before with Mike Tyson, and it worked, but Tyson Fury isn't Mike Tyson. He's not the superstar to the level of a Mike Tyson or even a Floyd Mayweather when they brought Floyd in. For me, Cain Velasquez is a bigger star than Tyson Fury, at least in North America. Over in England and stuff, Fury's a megastar, right? But it's different over here. I think Fury's a big star, and it's cool to see him, but I don't know if it's translating with the WWE universe that much.
I think if you like boxing, I think this is awesome for you, no?
Yeah, I guess so.
It's kind of cool that this is happening again. I mean, like you said, Tyson, Floyd, it's happened before. With success, too.
Yeah.
So why...
It's not bad. It's not bad. I just don't know what they're going to do here with Braun. Like, how is this all going to work out when they're actually in the ring together and have to do some kind of match?
Yeah, that's some great questions, but Triple H pulled it off with the Floyd and Big Show match, which I had low expectations, but it was entertaining in the end, so I think they could do it again.
What do you mean Triple H pulled it off?
Apparently Triple H helped book that match.
Okay, maybe he's taking credit for that. Who knows? Okay,
well,
I believe it. Triple H
wants
is
to
a
take
good
credit for that
wrestling,
match.
smart wrestling mind.
That match worked, Big Show and Floyd.
So maybe Braun Strowman and Tyson Fury will work as well, but I didn't love the pull-apart brawl to end Raw. I didn't think it was the best segment that they did all week.
Well, in terms of star power, what else are they going to use? You're not using Seth. You're not using Bray. You're not using your main event guys.
Yeah.
Who else you got?
No, I mean, I get it, and they used Tyson Fury, and it makes sense. You know, they got to set this thing up for Saudi Arabia, and he's a big star, and they have him, right? They have him booked. So, sure, definitely use him. Definitely put him in the main event, but, like, demanding an apology? Come on now. And the pull-apart brawl that just had no heat. You know, I thought, yeah, for sure, in theory, you do it. But in practice, it didn't really work. Like, it didn't hit on all cylinders like it could have. Sometimes, you know, everything's set up for success, but when you go out there and you try it, it doesn't quite work. I didn't feel like it worked. Did you feel the heat between Braun and Tyson Fury?
Well, I just don't believe in Tyson as a wrestler, unfortunately.
But did you feel like there was real animosity between the two guys? They're trying to make you believe that they hate each other. I still didn't quite feel it. Like when they did get together, it didn't feel like there was a lot of heat. They weren't trying to hit each other that hard. No one really took anything.
No, nothing really.
No damage done, no violence. When you have two of the biggest guys out there, two of the biggest athletes in the world, and they're fighting in the middle of the ring and it doesn't seem that violent, I think the segment falls flat.
Well, Tyson doesn't seem like he's that intense into it. It doesn't seem like he's got his game face on in a sense.
Yeah.
So if he's not into it, why should I be into it?
But even when he's boxing, he doesn't seem that intense. He's kind of like he's aloof a little bit, you know?
But
like he's not like an intense type of guy. Like for sure he's intense and he's serious when he's boxing, but the facial expression kind of seems like he's maybe taking it easy a little bit. Like he's obviously going 100% and doing his best to win the boxing matches, but even when you see him box, he's kind of like you know, he's like not that, like he doesn't have the mean face. Like when Brock Lesnar fights MMA, he's got the mean face, and it's like, ooh, scary, you know? Yeah. And that mean face translates to pro wrestling. Tyson Fury doesn't have a good mean face. So it kind of comes off as a joke. Tyson Fury doesn't seem all that serious because I guess when he's trying to be serious, he's not that great of an actor, and his mean face is not that good.
Well, you can.
He seems like a kind of a nice guy rather than like a big, mean, angry guy that just wants nothing than to hurt people. Like Brock Lesnar's good at it because he's big, mean, and angry, and he just wants to hurt people. Tyson Fury, you know, he's got the ability, but he's not like a big, mean guy like Brock is in real life.
And I'm sure that's the way they're going to sell it. Is like he's not that intimidating. He just, you know, has the power to actually hurt you.
Just wants you to say sorry, mate.
Yeah, well, he's not getting that sorry, so.
Yeah, no sorry. That means you have to fight.
Crazy.
It's very strange. Yeah, very strange, but hey, it's what the WWE's doing right now. Another match that had absolutely no heat. It was a decent match on Raw, but, like, I didn't care. A Ricochet and Apollo Crews, like, it was good, but...
It was the main event.
Yeah, but nothing there, you know? I was like, oh, this is going to be cool, but just felt like they were going out there, going through the motions of, you know, flips and stuff.
Which is too bad. I mean, that could actually be something, but it doesn't work because they're both faces, and, yeah, they're just doing Cirque du Soleil moves pretty much.
Yeah. Raw, not a great show this week. AEW, I thought it was really good. Right? Like, second week of AEW TV, I thought was very good. They answered a lot of questions that we had from last week, and they improved upon a lot of things. They moved forward with a lot of stories. Different things came together. It was a good show. Good wrestling, surprising finishes, progression of storylines, everything you'd want in a 2-hour wrestling show.
I think the best thing was that no commercial break right after the entrances. They actually did it during the match. There'd be a break instead. That was so much better. Yeah,
and during the match, when they do the commercial breaks, you have on a small screen, like the show is still going on. You just don't hear it. It's like picture in picture.
Right.
On most of the TV, you see the commercials, but you still watch AEW on like a picture in picture during the commercial breaks when a match is going on, which is fantastic. And I think a lot of TV shows should be doing that. Pro sports, all pro sports should be doing that because it keeps people tuned in when you're airing your commercials. And you really, you know, if you know anything about TV, you just want people to watch the commercials. That's what they put shows on for. So you sit there and you stay tuned for the commercials. But people, of course, you know, they flip channels and they move around. You leave during the commercials, but if the show's still going on, you don't want to miss anything. So you stay tuned and you happen to see the commercials. You hear the commercials because that's the only volume that they're giving you, right? Mm-hmm. The only audio is from the commercial, but at the same time, on a smaller image on the TV, you're still seeing the match. Brilliant move by AEW and TNT.
I feel maybe once or twice they actually didn't do that, though.
Yeah.
But for the most part, they did, so that was fantastic.
Yeah.
And I think they did it after the big surprise when the Private Party beat the Young Bucks. Just showing the celebration.
Yes,
that was
which was
cool.
Really cool.
Yeah.
to see them kind of celebrating in the crowd and, just to see them walk back.
Yeah.
And you don't need audio for that, just to see it. It kind of feels like you're getting to see something that maybe you're not supposed to see. It's cool.
Well, you get something extra in a sense.
Yeah, it's bonus. Yeah. And that was a great match, and that was a great way to open up the show. The Private Party beat the Young Bucks, a roll-up on Matt Jackson. Incredible match, shocking finish. Like, this is the first round of the tag team tournament,
right?
And the Young Bucks have been eliminated.
Clean, too.
Clean. Their first match on AEW TV as a tag team, they lose.
Well, I mean, they were a team with Kenny in a sense, right? It was a 3-on-2 and they lost, so technically they were a team there.
Yeah, well, it was a 6-man match.
Right.
I'm saying their first tag team match, they lose.
Yeah.
They also lost in the first week. The Bucks are losing a lot.
Maybe,
and the Private Party has won. Shocking.
Maybe they realized some complaints. People are complaining about the Elite always winning their matches, and maybe they listened to the complaints that maybe, hey, we shouldn't win all the time because we are like VPs of this federation, so maybe we should put the other guys over instead.
Taking a look at this tournament here, Big Johnny, we have the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick eliminated. We have Private Party advancing, and they'll take on the winners of the Lucha Brothers and the Jurassic Express. And then we'll have the Best Friends and SCU take on the Dark Order. So I guess that match is going to take place. The Best Friends versus SCU and Lucha Brothers and Jurassic Express should take place on next week's AEW Dynamite. Because the semifinals are scheduled for the week after on the 23rd. So next week, AEW Dynamite in Philadelphia on the 16th. That will be when Best Friends and SCU wrestle their opening round match. And the Lucha Brothers will take on the Jurassic Express, Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus as well. It's pretty sweet. So the winners of the Lucha Brothers Jurassic Express match take on Private Party, and then the winners of the Best Friends SCU match will take on the Dark Order. Both those matches taking place on the 23rd of October, AEW in Pittsburgh. And then finally, the finals on Dynamite for the first ever tag team titles in Charleston, West Virginia on the 30th of this month.
Well, it's cool that the Bucks gave us a surprise, a shock in a sense, but I feel the rest of the way it should stay how you expect it. I think the Lucha Brothers should win. I see the Lucha Brothers going all the way to the finals. They could easily win the tag team titles, I think. And I like them either against the Dark Order or against SCU. They had a little bit of a thing with SCU on the first show, so I could easily see SCU, Lucha Brothers in the final.
SCU and the Lucha Brothers would make sense, but now that Private Party beat the Bucks,
well, that's a big thing that they beat the Bucks. I think that's what they're going to get for this tournament.
Okay.
If you watch the match still, for the most part, they got dominated.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got the roll-up win, but for the most part, the Bucks put on a showcase.
And wow, what a showcase that was, right? Isn't it fun to see the Bucks really just doing their thing in the ring with a team that can keep up with them?
Right? Well, Private Party, that they were able to showcase their stuff too, but not compared to the Bucks. I felt like the Bucks did almost everything except hit the Meltzer driver. And even when they didn't hit it, it was like, well, it's still not going to be over. But wait, it's over. Wow, that roll-up is over. I'm surprised.
Yeah, very surprising finish. The Elite isn't winning everything. You know why? Because the Inner Circle runs AEW.
For now.
Chris Jericho and the Inner Circle, I mean, that was pretty cool. We were wondering last week, okay, Jericho, at the end of the show, you did the post-match beatdown. You had Jake Hager with you. You had Sammy Guevara. You had Santana. You had Ortiz. But what does it all mean? Are you a faction? Are you a group? And Chris Jericho, he comes in, he cuts a promo. He's like, everybody has questions. Are you guys together? Are you a group? Yes, we are a group. Do you have a name? Yes, we do have a name. He knew. It was a great promo from Jericho. One of the best that he's maybe ever done. It was masterful.
It was really good.
It was great stuff from Le Champion, Chris Jericho, the AEW champion. And he says the group is called the Inner Circle. Sammy Guevara, Jake Hager, or Hagar, as Jericho called him, Santana and Ortiz. Jericho saying, Sammy Guevara looks like a Spanish god. Look how sexy he is.
Okay, I didn't really get that, but sure, fine.
I thought it was really funny. I like that. And then the fans start chanting, We the People, for Jake Hagar. And Jericho's like, that was a stupid idea from bad creative. All that's gone. No more We the People.
I got a good big pop for that.
The fans went crazy for that. AEW, AEW. Everybody's going nuts. What a promo from Chris Jericho this week. He says Hagar is undefeated in MMA, and that makes him the toughest man in the whole pro wrestling business. And the crowd goes, well.
I'm sure you went the same way.
I was like, yeah. Brock Lesnar would probably beat him very badly.
Kane would probably beat him very
Cain
badly.
Velasquez would beat him very badly. You know, Jake Hager is a good MMA fighter, and, you know, he is 2-0 in Bellator, but he hasn't really fought anybody.
He's got another fight coming up soon, I think.
Yeah, well, let's see. You know, let's see Jake Hager against some of the other Bellator heavyweights, you know. Put Jake Hager in there against Czech Congo, or Jake Hager in there against Roy Nelson even, or Frank Mir. I think Jake Hager would have some problems. Jake Hager and Fedor. Hell, even Bobby Lashley, I think, would give Jake Hager some problems.
Well,
that would be a good fight, though. Bellator, if you're listening, that's a good one.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. I mean,
I don't think
Bobby's not really fighting.
Vince wouldn't allow it either.
Bobby would come back for the title. That's about it, I think.
Well, that title's held by Ryan Bader, and I think that's a little bit too steep for both Bobby or Jake Hager. So Jericho saying that he's the toughest man in all pro wrestling. Yeah, maybe not. That was the only kind of like, yeah, I don't know about that. But then Jericho goes, you know, Cody Rhodes. Yeah, let's talk about Cody Rhodes. I don't like him. I don't like his family. I thought Dusty Rhodes, I never liked him. I thought he was a jerk. And his brother Dustin's a moron, and I'm going to beat him up later tonight. It was just fantastic stuff. Oh, man. Talking about Dusty Rhodes saying he thought he was a jerk. Unbelievable. I mean, Jericho knew Dusty when he was alive, you know? Fantastic. Great promo from Jericho, setting up a new faction, the Inner Circle. I like the name. I like the group. Jericho looked great with them in the ring as the leader, as Le Champion. They said they're going to celebrate with a little bit of the bubbly. Loved it. Loved it. Like Jericho, he hit all the marks, hit the catchphrases, talked about Cody, said some shocking stuff, took a shot at the WWE, put over his own group. Like, he did everything you'd want in a promo. It was masterful stuff from the genius, Mr. Chris Jericho, and he ended it all with, you're welcome, because he wants to thank you. He doesn't want an apology. He wants a thank you. Different.
I think they were saying thank you, but he told them to shut up, though, and listen.
Yeah, shut up.
But it's great that he explained it, because to me, I look at him like, why is this team together? It doesn't make any sense. Thankfully, he gave us a reason, although obviously some of the reasons are kind of weird a bit, but whatever. I mean, that's in his logic. This all makes sense. So.
Yeah, he was like, oh, Santana and Ortiz, they're wild, they're fighters, they're from the street, and I love it. And it's like, all right.
Yeah, Viva La Raza. Yeah.
Viva La Raza. Well, I think it was Eddie Guerrero's birthday.
Right, and everyone chanted Eddie. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was just a shout out to Eddie Guerrero, which is pretty cool, too.
It's still stretching.
Another thing that he did in the promo.
He's stretching a lot of things to make it work, but sure, fine.
It worked, though. Come on.
I'm okay with it. It's just at first when you look at it, it's like, what is this group? But now he explained it, so it's good.
It's the Inner Circle, man.
Pretty much the guy is to go against the elite right now. That's pretty much what he's done. He's formed a faction to take on all the elite.
Yeah. And why not? Right?
Well, you have to, because they pretty much run AEW, so if he's going to run it, which he does right now, he needs his own little group.
It makes a lot of sense for Chris Jericho to have his own group. You know, you've got the elite, like we talked about last week. It made a lot of sense for this to happen, and I'm glad that they're doing it. You know, I'm glad that they're giving us Jericho with a faction. Like, when has Chris Jericho, the wrestler, ever had his own group? It's a new look for Chris Jericho. It's something that we've never seen before, and I think it's pretty cool. Le Champion. No?
I like it. Well, it seems like whatever Jericho does, he can make it into gold, it seems. He takes all these little catchphrases that you wouldn't think catch on and become the biggest thing in the world. So he had the list. He brought back 2 again. I didn't know he could still do that. That's awesome that he does that still. It's just amazing. Like, he has a bit of the bubbly t-shirt, and now he has an inner circle shirt. It just keeps going and going with him. Keeps making money.
Why not? Why not, right? Is Chris Jericho. Oh, that's not where we wanted to go. Chris Jericho with his new group. It's just, it's a fantastic group. He's got fantastic catchphrases. He's doing great. And if you're watching this show, I think we got it going here. Do we have it going here? Yeah, there we go. Hold on a second. If you're watching the show, you can see a sweet image of that group.
Look how cool those guys are.
That is
a good-looking group right there. You got the big man, Jake Hager. You've got Chris Jericho, the veteran champion, the superstar. You've got the tag team, LAX. You've got the young cruiserweight, Sammy Guevara.
That's a pretty
cool squad right there.
Jake Hager, big MMA fighter. That's good stuff. I'm into it. I'm into this group. It's a super group. The Inner Circle. And I like the rest of AEW Dynamite, Big Johnny. It was a good show.
Well, Darby Allin, Jimmy Havoc, #1 contenders match. It was good. I disagree with it being #1 contenders match, but still a solid match in the end.
You didn't think that the winner should get a title shot?
I think Pac made a great example of why he should be champion, or should be in #1 contenders match, or should be booked on the show, period, in a match.
Yeah, well, he beat Kenny Omega, right?
Right.
Did he wrestle last week? Yeah, he beat Hangman, right? He's undefeated. He's like, why are Darby Allin and Jimmy Havoc getting a match for a title shot? It made a lot of sense what he was saying. But, I guess he's doing this thing where he feels like AEW and AEW management, they're working against him.
Kind of seems like it, because he has a better record than both those guys, I think, combined.
Yeah.
And yet they get the shot, he doesn't. I get it, because Jericho's a champion. You don't want Pac to be in that kind of position, but he wasn't even considered for the match.
Yeah, you could see why Pac would have a beef there, storyline-wise, but I thought the match, Darby Allin and Jimmy Havoc, was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was good. Kind of short, but Darby took a very good beating, I thought, for the most part.
As he always does.
Pretty much, yeah.
Just nasty. The vertical suplex inside to outside the ring.
Somewhat like a Falcon Arrow almost.
Yeah, nasty.
Takes a lot of rough bumps.
Darby Allin takes a lot of rough bumps, and his finisher is even rough on him. That coffin drop thing that he just does like a free fall back first on his opponent, and that's his finisher. It's a good finisher.
Well, it's kind of like the Kofi thing does. Kofi does like the
trust fall.
Yeah, the trust fall, but the guy's down, and he just kind of lands on him. So,
yeah, I like the coffin drop better.
Well, it's better because it looks like Darby, because he's so small, he just puts all his weight into it, where Kofi just kind of falls into it. He doesn't really seem to care that much.
So Darby Allin winds up beating Jimmy Havoc, hits the coffin drop, and gets the pinfall to earn a title shot against Chris Jericho next week. So next week in Philadelphia, it will officially be for the AEW Championship, Jericho's first defense in a Philadelphia street fight. This isn't just a match. It is a Philadelphia street fight coming up Wednesday night on TSN 2 here in Canada, TNT in the States. AEW Dynamite, third episode, will have a street fight for the AEW title between Jericho and Darby Allin. Like, that's a cool match right there. And in a street fight, it'll allow Darby Allin to do some wild stuff. I can't wait. I can't wait to see what AEW is going to give us next week. Every week, it's like, whoa, what are they going to do next?
Well, they kind of have to do this at this point, right? They're trying to attract new viewers, the brand new show, so they got to put out some really good stuff right away. So, yeah, street fight, it makes a lot of sense. Also, because you expect a lot of interference regardless, right? So this kind of throws it out of the way right away. There can be interference. You expect it, so make it legal.
Yeah, why not? I guess Darby Allin will just get beat up by Jericho's guys.
Well, I expect the Elite to probably help. Cody,
Sure.
Justin, I expect something like that will happen.
Yeah, of course, there was a huge melee at the end of AEW Dynamite that involved, like, everybody, right? So it's Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara versus Dustin Rhodes and Hangman Page, right? Jericho and Guevara wind up beating Dustin and Hangman with some help from Jake Hager. Good match. Hangman and Hager start brawling after the match, and they brawl to the back. And then Jericho and Sammy Guevara are alone in the ring with Dustin Rhodes, so they beat on him. Of course, Dustin's brother Cody, who's got the match in November at Full Gear, the next AEW pay-per-view against Jericho. Cody shows up. He makes a save, but then Santana and Ortiz, they jump in. They attack Cody. MJF shows up to make the save for Cody. He clears the ring a bit, but then he gets hit with a code breaker from Jericho. The Young Bucks show up. They try to make the save. They clear the ring for a bit, and then Darby Allin, shooting down the ramp on a skateboard, he jumps on Chris Jericho as they close the show. He's like attacking Jericho, and it's just a wild finish to end the second episode of Dynamite. A little bit of a back and forth. Last week, it was the Inner Circle on top. This week, it's this grouping of the elite. You know, it's Dustin Rhodes, Cody Rhodes, MJF, the Young Bucks, and Darby Allin standing their ground and taking out Jericho and the rest of the Inner Circle.
I found the MJF's interference very intriguing because it seemed like he might make a turn because they held Cody up for MJF to bash him with the chair, but he decided not to in the end.
Right.
So that was kind of interesting that they play that a bit where MJF might do a turn, but no, stayed with Cody in the end and got an amazing face reaction after he was one of the top heels on last week's show. It's interesting what they're doing with MJF.
I like what they're doing with MJF. Like, you know, it's a little bit of a in-between type character, right? He's a heel one week, he's a babyface the next. You're never sure exactly what to expect from him. And you thought, hey, maybe he might be a heel here because he came in the ring with a steel chair, and they were kind of setting up Cody for him, saying, hit Cody, and the crowd was like, oh. And for a second there, you thought, maybe this is where MJF turns on Cody, but he didn't. He attacked the LAX guys. It's cool. It's cool what they're doing with him.
Well, it makes you think that maybe he's not that big of a jerk, although he seemed like quite a big jerk last week. So
well, it's just when Cody's involved, right? That's when MJF is going to show up. Like if it was just Dustin and Hangman getting beat up, I don't think MJF shows up. But if Cody's getting beat up by anybody, MJF will be there to make the save.
Well, it'll be fun because I imagine if Cody's not involved, he's just going to be a huge jerk, MJF.
Right, but it's cool. Like they could set up a tag team match with like Cody, MJF, and the Bucks against, say, some members of the Inner Circle, and maybe Cody gets taken out, MJF is left standing, and the Bucks are getting beat up by like most of Inner Circle, and MJF could make the save, but he just chooses not to because, well, they're not Cody, and then Cody could get upset, and they could do something there. Like, there are so many different things you could do with MJF because he's with Cody, but he's still a heel. So there's a lot of leeway there for his character. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of stuff that AEW can do and will do and are setting up for the future, and they're putting on really good shows every single week. I mean, they've only had 2 weeks so far, but so far it's been pretty good. Darby Allin versus Jimmy Havoc I thought was fantastic this week. Britt Baker and Riho beating Sakura and B. Priestley. I thought that was a good match as well. Jon Moxley hitting his DDT on Shawn Spears. I thought Moxley and Spears, Moxley getting the win there. That was a pretty good match. I liked the main event tag team match. There wasn't really anything on this card I disliked.
Okay. Well, I thought the women's tag kind of dragged a little bit, but that was me on that one.
Okay.
I felt we kind of set up the pay-per-view matches now. It feels like it's going to be Dustin against like Jack Hager.
Yeah, probably. Or no, Hangman. Because Hangman and Hager, they went brawling to the back by themselves at the end of that melee.
Yeah, you're right about that. Okay.
I think it's going to be Hangman and Hager at Full Gear.
And Sammy against like MJF?
Sammy and MJF would make a lot of sense.
Or maybe it would be Dustin. I don't know. Or is Dustin the odd man out of this?
And maybe Santana and Ortiz against the Young Bucks.
Well, that's definitely, I think, for sure.
That's got to happen, right?
that's pretty much set almost, it seems. November 9th, it comes up pretty quick, actually.
Yeah. AEW's Full Gear. Of course, Jericho versus Cody in the main event of that, unless Darby Allin becomes the AEW World Champion. Then it'll be Darby Allin versus Cody for the AEW title.
I don't think that's going to happen. I know they sell like you never know, it could happen, and I'm sure they're going to make Darby look like $1 million in the match. Chris Jericho's very good at doing that. However, I don't think it's going to happen. He's not going to win.
It's unlikely. It's unlikely. I think Jericho-Cody is the match to make at this point. They're building towards it. I think Jericho's going to beat Darby Allin. Maybe go to a draw with him, right? Maybe a time limit draw.
Right, yeah.
But I think Jericho probably just wins with some interference and the Judas effect. 1, 2, 3, middle of the ring. Jon Moxley getting the win over Shawn Spears. It's funny. I wouldn't care about a Dean Ambrose-Ty Dillinger match at all, but Jon Moxley and Shawn Spears, it was all right.
Well, it was just fun because it seemed like they were free to do what they want kind of thing, where I don't think you'd ever see that kind of match in WWE. Dean Ambrose versus Ty Dillinger would never be like that. That's for sure.
That's right.
It's interesting, too, with Pac, though. I kind of hope they make this Kenny against Moxley feud into, like, Kenny against Moxley against Pac.
It's weird. Like, I'm not sure what they're doing here because Kenny Omega shows up after the match, and, of course, Moxley attacked Kenny last week.
Yes.
So Kenny and Moxley, I think they are wrestling at Full Gear, right? It's official for Full Gear.
1-on-1 as of now.
As of now. But, you know, Kenny shows up. He's got a broom because he's Kenny Omega the cleaner, right? So he's got a broom and it's wrapped in barbed wire, and he's got a baseball bat wrapped in barbed wire that he decides to give to Jon Moxley, which is kind of a weird move there from Kenny, but he's like, here, take your weapon, I've got mine, let's fight. But then Pac, from behind, he attacks Kenny Omega with a chair, and then Pac just kind of looks at Moxley and leaves. Moxley decides, no, I'm not going to attack Kenny Omega, I'm not going to take advantage of him, and then he just kind of walks away. So it's weird, like Moxley and Pac, what's their relationship? Moxley, you know, he attacks Kenny last week, but this time when Kenny's already beaten and attacked from behind, Moxley doesn't do the heel thing and attack Kenny Omega. He kind of leaves him. It's interesting, you know? It's an interesting little trio they have going with Moxley, Omega, and now Pac. So Pac and Kenny, not done. Kenny and Moxley, obviously not done. And Pac and Moxley, don't know.
Well, I guess Moxley established himself as not really a heel. I guess more of a tweener, does his own little thing, what he wants to do kind of thing. And, like, yes, he did attack Kenny, but that was because that's what he wanted to do. That was his planned attack. When he actually can get the advantage because someone else, he's not going to take the advantage because that's not what he wanted to do. He's his own man. That's, I guess, his kind of thing.
Yeah. I guess so.
Yeah, that's why he could wrestle Shawn Spears, a heel,
yeah,
and people will care.
Yeah, Moxley is kind of the, he's a wild card, right? He does what he wants. He's a man on his own. He's the lone wolf, Jon Moxley.
But that's great. He can wrestle the faces. He can wrestle the heels, and people will still care about the match.
Yeah. Yeah, he's an interesting character right now, that's for sure. Jon Moxley wrestled this week in AEW. He's going to wrestle on Monday in Japan, defending his IWGP US Championship against Juice Robinson. And then I think he's going to show up in Philly on Wednesday. It's a lot of travel for Moxley. Boston on Wednesday, following Monday in Tokyo, and then that Wednesday, 2 days later, in Philadelphia.
He did have the bandage on his elbow.
Did he? I didn't notice that.
He did, but... And he obviously just sold it for the sake of selling it, but I think for the most part, he seemed to be fine in the match.
And, of course, you know, I expect him to drop that U.S. title in Japan, and then he'll be full on with AEW going forward.
Well, why is he doing the rematch in the first place? Like, yeah, it just seems like they're doing it just to get it off of him.
Yeah, to get it off him and give it back to the Juice. For more on King of Pro Wrestling in New Japan, you can listen to What's Phantom in Japan. That's available on our website, www.ringsidereport.net. We've got to take a short commercial break here for the radio side. When we come back, we'll talk about what happened on Monday Night Raw a little bit more and tell you what happened on NXT, including a fantastic main event this week in NXT. It is Wrestling Uncensored. Stay with us. All right, welcome back. It's Wrestling Uncensored. I am Dave Simon. He is Johnny North. www.ringsidereport.net is the place to go for everything Wrestling Uncensored, everything Ringside Report, the Ringside Report Network, always expanding. What did we do this week? We had Ringside Report, the MMA show. That's on our YouTube channel. We had the Hell in a Cell post show last Sunday. We had a brand new episode of What's Fandom in Japan. A brand new episode of Dave and Johnny Live, where we did a mock draft. Johnny was SmackDown, I was Raw, and we drafted everybody in the WWE. Tell us whose show was better. Check out Dave and Johnny Live. And we also did a new episode of Smackin It, the SmackDown only show, a YouTube exclusive. That's where we talk about everything that happens on Friday nights. We do it right after SmackDown at 10 p.m. It's the SmackDown post show, Smackin It with Dave. So go to the channel, www.ringsidereport.net, youtube.com/ringsidereport.net. If you're listening to this show, you are missing out. You could watch this show. You could watch many other shows on the Ringside Report Network. We're very busy.
A lot of things going. A
lot of things constantly going on. There's a lot of pro wrestling to cover, John. And, you know, we don't have time on this show to cover SmackDown, and because of the schedule, we're just not able to do it. So we cover AEW on this show. We cover Raw. We cover NXT and SmackDown. Well, SmackDown's lucky. It gets its own little show, Smackin It with Dave, and then everything else. I mean, we did a mock draft this week, and you can watch that on our YouTube channel on Dave and Johnny Live. There's so much pro wrestling, John.
I enjoyed winning that mock draft.
I don't know about that. We'll see. Wrestling Uncensored Universe, you tell us who won the mock draft. Spectacular. What was spectacular this week, Natty and Lacey Evans, I thought was a very good match. I like when Natty got thrown into the new video screen and she slid down like a slide because it's kind of curved, and I liked the finish where Natty powerbombed Lacey off the stage through a table to keep her down for the 10 count and win the last woman standing match. That was a hard-hitting match. They took some really cool bumps, and the finish was awesome.
The great part about the finish, I didn't expect that whatsoever. I didn't expect them to do something like a table spot like that. Like, it was just crazy. Like
a powerbomb off the stage through a table.
You usually see that in the main event. To see that the opening match, it was kind of crazy.
But this is a feud that's been going on for a while, and I feel like maybe this was the payoff between Lacey and Natty. Lacey goes off the stage through a table. I think she earned a lot of respect taking that bump too, right?
Well, it's the first time she's ever been in that kind of match, so
you got to give it to Lacey Evans for taking that. Tremendous. And of course, Natty, she's just so, excellently executed, you know? I think it runs in the family. She just delivers her moves so perfectly, and you can tell when she's tossing you around, when she's powerbombing you, when she picks you up, you will land all right. She's a real professional. She's a real heart. She knows exactly what she's doing, and every move that she puts together is flawlessly executed. The excellence of execution, Natty Neidhart.
Well, I'm sure with something like that, they made sure it was extra safe, though. I'm sure it was extra padded underneath for the table as well. Like, it's not like that was that hard of a landing for Lacey, and wasn't even that far of a throw even for the power bomb. It's pretty much the pick up and drop kind of thing. So, I mean, yeah, excellently executed. Very difficult to say.
Oh yeah,
but it wasn't exactly the hardest thing that she's ever pulled off.
No, definitely not. Natty's been through it, right? Not the first time Natty's put people through tables. She's been doing it for years. Over a decade in the WWE, right?
Well, she was in the first ever women's tables match, if you remember correctly, so yes.
How long has Natty been in the WWE?
I feel at least since 2008 or 9.
Yeah, she's been in the WWE for 10 years. It's pretty incredible. She was signed in 2007. Incredible. And she's been, a leader of the division for so long. I love watching Natty. She is my favorite. And I was really happy to see her have a good match on Raw this week. Natty is a trailblazer. She's a future Hall of Famer, and she's one of those wrestlers that doesn't get nearly the amount of respect or love that she deserves.
I think she gets a lot of it, though. I mean, she was given a women's title reign not too long ago. She has been women's champion quite a few times.
She's not in the mix, though.
Well, the thing is, everyone else has their time, right? And you give Charlotte 10 times reigns, like, yeah, of course Natty's going to lose.
That's it. But, you know, Natty made Charlotte.
She made pretty much all of them, if you think about it.
The whole women's NXT revolution, all that stuff starts with Natty having a classic match with Charlotte Flair, with Ric Flair ringside and Bret Hart ringside. I mean, that was a moment where Natty carried Charlotte and showed that Charlotte can hang and Charlotte could be the future, and Natty was the one that showed everybody.
Her feud with Becky as well.
Natty's fantastic. Like, Natty's the best. You'll never hear me say a single bad word about Natty Neidhart. She is a living legend. And, of course, her Uncle Brett is pretty cool, too. Rey Mysterio had a little promo this week. Talked about Brock Lesnar and Cain Velasquez. He says that Cain Velasquez is Dominic's godfather. And I was like, really?
That's nice that he did that.
I don't think that's true.
No, I don't think so either, but it's nice for the storyline.
Dominic's 19. I don't think Cain and Rey Mysterio have been friends for 19 years. It's kind of weird that Rey said that. I was like, really? Didn't they say Eddie was his godfather? I thought Eddie Guerrero was his godfather.
No, Eddie's his actual dad, remember?
Yeah, but I thought in real life, like, he was his godfather.
Poppy.
Okay. Johnny North, you're confused. You're just like AJ, you know, you don't understand when wrestling's real and when it's not. How about Miz TV? Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair were the guests. They talked about their tag team match against the Kabuki Warriors, and Becky mentioned that Asuka beat her the last time that they wrestled, and she wanted to correct that. Asuka and Kairi Sane show up and cut a promo entirely in Japanese, but I really enjoyed it. Like, I thought Kairi and Asuka had good chemistry. Asuka was saying all this stuff, and Kairi seemed very amused. I like that they cut a promo in Japanese, and then they beat Becky and Charlotte. Asuka spraying that green mist in Becky's eye. She did it to win the tag team titles, and now she's continuing on. I like that that's now part of her gimmick, the mist from Asuka. Kairi rolling up Becky Lynch to get the win over the champs, the Raw and SmackDown Women's Champions, respectively. Charlotte attacked the Kabukis after the match, but then they took control and beat her up a little bit. So Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross made the save and took out the Kabuki Warriors. So it looks like it's not done between Alexa and Nikki and the Kabukis.
I could see a rematch for the women's tag team titles for that. Also, it seems like Becky and Asuka, one day, that's going to be a match, because now Asuka kind of cost her 2 matches now.
Yeah. Are Asuka and Kairi Sane wasted in the tag team division? Should they be in the singles division so they can have, you know, main event classic matches? Because I think they're, you know, both capable of it.
Well, they're champions. They just won the championships recently, so let them have their run with this first, and then...
I guess. I just hope they do something with this run.
Well, they're unique, right? Because apparently this will be the only sets of titles that could be on either show as of right now, right? So
if you are the women's tag team champions, you could be on Raw or SmackDown? We'll see how it shakes out after the draft.
At least Raw and NXT, I could see that happening.
Aleister Black beat the Singh brothers for some reason.
Terrible.
On TV. Why were the Singh brothers on TV cutting a promo? What is this new gimmick that we're supposed to know about? And Aleister Black, you know, he's still doing the pick a fight with me. And the Singh brothers, for some reason, said they wanted to pick a fight with Aleister Black. Why would they do that? And then he shows up and beats them up. I was like, what?
He didn't even, like, hit his finish, didn't he? Just, like, won with a kick or something? Like,
yeah. No, he beat him with a modified Dragon Sleeper submission move.
Right. Well, definitely not his finish, usually.
It was a squash.
Yeah.
Not good. The OC beat the Lucha House Party. I thought that was all right. AJ got the pinfall on Kalisto after the phenomenal forearm. Where's Kalisto been?
He's been there, but, you know, when you're in that Lucha House Party, I mean, you're pretty much on 205, so that's it. You're just not being used as much.
Well, I thought it was a fun match, though.
I enjoyed it a lot. I think it just goes to show you Lucha House Party should be considered more of a threat, because if they were, that would have been a better match.
Yeah, I wish the Lucha House Party were taken a little bit more seriously, because they are very talented wrestlers.
I thought it was a great back and forth match. It's just like, well, obviously OC's going to win because Lucha House Party are jobbers, so it's kind of too bad.
Yeah, it is too bad. The Viking Raiders will take on Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler for the Raw Tag Team titles on Monday, because the Raiders beat them in a non-title match this week. Also this week, Sasha Banks, not on Raw or SmackDown. There's a word that she may be injured, so that's dangerous. Ember Moon is injured, apparently going to be out for most of a year. 205 Live looks to be pretty much done. Lio Rush became the new Cruiserweight Champion on NXT this week, and they called him the NXT Cruiserweight Champion. Lio Rush hitting a frog splash on Drew Gulak to get the win there. So, good match. I like Lio Rush. Talented guy. New champion.
Surprising. I mean, he's just gone pretty much for, most of a year? And then suddenly he's back as a champion? Wow.
I don't know. Why not? He's fun to watch. Rhea Ripley beat Aaliyah after a slam out of like a cool leg submission wrap-up move that she had on her. That was a cool move by Rhea Ripley. She's good.
It was. The match wasn't much of anything, but it was a cool beatdown, sure.
Yeah. Rhea cut a promo after the match about wanting to beat Shayna Baszler. She's like, oh, I want to beat Shayna Baszler. But didn't Candice LeRae already do that?
No, she lost.
Oh, she's not the champion.
Right.
So Shayna is still the champion, and everybody's calling her out still.
Yeah.
Because Bianca Belair called her out too.
Yeah, well, good luck with that as well. I don't see that happening.
Bianca Belair beat Dakota Kai with a nice move. I thought the match was really good. The finish was nice too. Bianca cut a promo, and she's like, hey, if Rhea Ripley wants a piece of Shayna Baszler, she's got to go through me first.
And she will, I think.
I guess Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair will have some sort of number 1 contenders match. Some weird stuff happened on NXT. Adam Cole cut a promo in the ring, and then he said Finn Balor, Tommaso Ciampa, they're just there for to test themselves against the best in wrestling, the Undisputed Era. Then Velveteen Dream shows up, and he shows a picture of Roderick Strong nude on a couch wearing the NXT North American title to protect his genitals, right?
For now.
And then Velveteen says they're going to have a rematch in 2 weeks for the North American Championship, and I'm going to strip the title off of you, and the world will see that you don't measure up. And then they showed a picture of Roderick Strong without the title, and it's kind of like blurring his genitals with one of those circles with a bar through it, kind of saying, no genitals here. That was weird.
Wasn't very family friendly on that one.
Oh, it was a weird deal. It was just odd, you know? I know what they're trying to do there with Velveteen Dream, but it was just okay. And then Tommaso Ciampa shows up, and he's got a crutch and a chair, and the Undisputed Era are like, yeah, we're just going to leave. And then Tommaso Ciampa says, Goldie, daddy's home, talking about the NXT Championship that I guess he wants a shot at against Adam Cole.
Yeah, I could easily see Ciampa win the championship back. I think they're really setting that up quite nicely.
Yeah. They're setting up a lot of different things. They're setting up Damian Priest against Pete Dunne going forward. You had a match, Roderick Strong beating Isaiah Swerve Scott. I like what I saw from Isaiah Swerve Scott. He's a pretty talented wrestler.
It was a good match.
I also love the main event, Walter beating Kushida after a clothesline. Didn't love the finish, you know. It's just a clothesline. Kushida got hit with a bunch of other stuff that you thought would have taken him out, like the power bomb seemed more impactful than the clothesline. I thought that the finish was a little anticlimactic. Other than that, I thought the match was fantastic.
I think there's a lot of people in NXT that are fans of clotheslines and feel that that's why it was the finish, because people want to see a clothesline as a finish because no one finishes with a clothesline anymore.
Okay. Was that the match of the week?
It's tough because I really like the Bucks against Private Party.
Yeah. But it's down to those two, right? It's Walter against Kushida or the Bucks and the Private Party match of the week in pro wrestling. I'm going to give it to Walter and Kushida. I think the Bucks and Private Party was amazing. The finish was surprising. It's tough, man. It's tough. Match of the week for AEW, definitely the tag match, Bucks and Private Party. Match of the week for WWE, definitely that NXT Walter and Kushida match. It's really tough for me to pick one that I like better.
Well, I'd give it to the Bucks and Private Party because I felt the energy was more for that tag match.
The real winners were Wednesday night wrestling fans. If you watch wrestling on a Wednesday night, you got two great shows to watch, NXT and AEW, just killing it.
Well, for us, Wednesday, AEW, Thursday, NXT, but yes.
That's true. That's true. If you're an American Wednesday night wrestling fan, you're the real winners. If you're a Canadian wrestling fan, well, you also win because you can watch NXT on Thursday night and AEW on Wednesday and, space it out. Easier that way.
Just every day of wrestling, pretty much.
It really is a constant flow of professional wrestling, and we've got more to look forward to. Darby Allin, Chris Jericho for the AEW title next week. The draft, of course, on SmackDown. If you want to know more about the draft, watch Smackin It with Dave. You could watch Smackin It after SmackDown, 10 p.m. Eastern, every Friday night to know what I think about SmackDown and the draft and everything going on there. The draft will finish up on Raw on Monday. And coming up on AEW Dark, which is a YouTube show that they have, Kenny Omega versus Joey Janela. That drops every Tuesday on the AEW YouTube channel, so that's pretty cool. Kenny Omega and Joey Janela, a match to look forward to. They're doing it. I mean, AEW's got two shows now. They had an hour-long YouTube show. They had a bunch of matches on that. It was a good show. I watched it. You watched it. AEW's putting out not only Dynamite, but they've got AEW Dark now, a spin-off show already.
Well, really, it's the talent that you don't see wrestle on Dynamite for the week. They wrestle pretty much on that show.
Also, if you're buying tickets to an event, a 2-hour wrestling show with commercial breaks, it's not necessarily worth the price of admission. You want a bit of a longer show, right? So they give you a 3-hour show, for the live crowd. And that first hour, that's AEW Dark, that goes on YouTube the following Tuesday.
Well, that's it. There's usually pre-matches that happen, and these are pretty much it. The pre-matches, or in some cases, the matches after the show.
Yeah, I think Kenny and Joey Janela was the Dark main event.
I could easily see that.
Yeah. All right, Big Johnny. We have no Dark main event. We are overtime here. When is your next match? When can people see you in the ring?
So October 26th, I'm wrestling Drew Onyx for the British Commonwealth Championship in Anjou, Montreal, 9001 Parkway Boulevard. It's a big match, 7:30 p.m., October 26th. Not only is it going to be for the vacant British Commonwealth Championship, it will also be a strap match. So it's going to be very physical, very violent.
Johnny North going to be laying the strap down on Drew Onyx. For more info, follow him on Twitter at North Genesis. Follow him on Instagram at Genesis Johnny North. You can follow me on all the things at Dave Simon MMA. www.ringsidereport.net is the website. Go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ringsidereport.net. Like the video, subscribe, click the bell to get the notifications. Leave your comments. Watch Dave and Johnny live. Watch Ringside Report. What's Phantom in Japan? Smackin It for all the SmackDown info right after SmackDown every Friday night. Everything available, all the info on our website, www.ringsidereport.net. Thanks to everybody for helping us out on the radio side, and a big thanks to you for listening and watching. For Johnny North, I am Dave Simon, and this has been Wrestling Uncensored. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.